I'm just picking up strains of Goldfinger. The band is playing the James Bond theme, which is rather interesting. However, there we are. We have the royal couple waiting to come down those steps. And just to touch on another issue, Cameron, of course, we just had the tribute being paid by the Queen Consort to Paul O'Grady, who she was great friends with, and saying she was deeply saddened by his passing. And in terms of the royal couple, they are, should we say, a very human sort of duo in terms of their sensitivity and, as we will perhaps see in the coming hours, the ability to greet and meet people. I think we might have lost Cameron there. So they are just, I think, waiting for the cannons to be fired there. There may be a couple of more shots.
Hello, Mark. Can you still hear me?
Yes, the cannon shot, cannon fire beat you to it for a moment there. I was just saying also we had these strains of Goldfinger coming through from the band, which is an interesting choice. And now we have a fly past as well.
Yes, we will. Lots of British tunes are playing, and we are expecting a fly past as well. You mentioned just a short while ago about the Queen Consort's tributes to television star Paul O'Grady. And from my understanding, the Queen Consort is actually going to be making contact with Paul O'Grady's family privately to pay her personal condolences and respects to her. And obviously, as we've heard from palace sources, she is deeply saddened because it was this year that they both celebrated together the 160th anniversary of Battersea Dogs and Cats Home. The Queen Consort is their longtime patron, and Paul O'Grady was their ambassador. And Paul O'Grady had a TV show for the love of dogs, which the Queen Consort took part in. We believe that is going to re-air today in tribute to Paul O'Grady. So, yes, a very sad shock, really, for the Queen Consort for losing a man she grew perhaps close to in recent years. But as with everything when it comes to the royal family, they have to keep calm and carry on. And that is why the King and Queen Consorts have arrived in Berlin and will be getting on with their official duties as working members of the royal family.
Well, the James Bond theme now beating out. I wonder whether King Charles was feeling perhaps he should have abseiled into the airfield like, of course, his late mother did on the Olympic Stadium in London. But we now have... Yeah, it's still playing. Whether he can walk in step to the James Bond theme coming down the stairs, I don't... Bit of a strange choice, isn't it, Cameron, for the official arrival?
I think this is called filling time, Mark. The King and Queen Consort have arrived in Berlin, and they seem to just be entertaining the crowds at the moment. But we were here a little bit earlier, and there was actually a rehearsal going on for the big military procession and military walkthrough, which the King will be taking part in a little bit later on. I don't know if you can see from one of your camera shots, and for those listening on radio, there is a big red carpet that has been rolled out in front of the Brandenburg Gate, and the King is expected to walk down that line inspecting the German military with the President of Germany as well, and of course a fly past, as you mentioned. So a big ceremonial welcome. As I said, it's the first time that any head of state anywhere in the world has had a ceremonial welcome here at the Brandenburg Gate, perhaps showing the significance of this visit. But they seem to be very much literally rolling out the red carpet and welcoming the British head of state and his consorts. The first time since 2015 the British head of state has been in in Germany, and of course the first post-Brexit as well. So I think the British government and British officials will very much be hoping this is going to strengthen relations and be the King's power of soft diplomacy in action in terms of promoting British interests on the world stage.
And an interesting point you pick up there, of course, because King Charles acknowledged that when he became the sovereign rather than being a prince, he would have to change his political stance. But there is still a very important role for the monarchy to play, particularly with, I guess, what we've seen in terms of European relations in these past 5 years.
Oh, absolutely. I think we can see from the programme of engagements the King and Queen Consort have that it's very much reflecting their interests. The Queen Consort, as we understand it, is perhaps visiting a school maybe that will be to do with children's literacy. Of course, she is very passionate about and feels that if children start reading young, it will really help their prospects, future prospects later on in life. For the king, there's lots on sustainability and climate change, and I think it's going to be very interesting, Mark, what he's going to be talking about in the German Bundestag tomorrow, the German Parliament, because he has addressed that Parliament before, but as Prince of Wales. So he's clearly got to be very careful tomorrow, because he is addressing the German Parliament as head of state, as the British head of state, and he can't be drawn too much into politics. So it's a very fine line, I think, for the king, but he'll be well aware of that, as will his staff.
Well, they're on board the Bentley now, which you're reflecting has a German engine, of course, but you were telling us that there will be a trip on public transport there as well, which has been suffering a few problems with strikes and so on in Germany.
Yes, it certainly has. We're hoping it's all going to be ironed out by the time that happens. I can't go into too much details as to exactly what the king is going to be doing in terms of public transport yet. However, climate change and sustainability is perhaps very much the theme of that one. What I can tell you is the king is going to be visiting Berlin here today and tomorrow, and he will then be travelling on to Hamburg. He's also going to be, there's going to be a lot of, let's say, reconciliation perhaps for Germany and the UK. He's going to be visiting a church which was bombed in Hamburg, which was bombed by the Allies during the Second World War. And similar to Coventry Cathedral, perhaps in the UK, they left those ruins there